Hello.
Hi, bestie.
How's life?
It's okay. I dye my hair tomorrow, so
Yes, you said. Very exciting. Haven't done
I
mine
don't
in years.
I don't know what it's gonna be because I told her she could do whatever, but I'm kind of regretting that right now because I just want red hair. I want red hair.
Me too. We can be redheads together. We don't have much to talk about for a cold open, do we?
I can talk about Summer Bird Blue a little bit and the fact I really love it, and I really love like things that take place near the ocean, and like with Hawaii and just like sad, etc.
I just realized you're reading this book that is asexual, right? And
Yes.
after we finish this and I finish editing this and then upload this, am going to finish Loveless, which is also a book about an asexual main character, but also Alice Osman promotes that book in its representation of asexuality, and I'm just like, wait a second, the dots are connecting. You know the meme.
Wait. I have it. I know I have it on my phone. Hold on.
I know
Hold
you
on.
do
Hold
have it
on.
on your phone. You send it to me occasionally. At this
There it
point,
is.
I just download the memes you send me, and then I send those memes, or I just use the Bella Dog meme.
You just used the Bella Dog meme. Be so serious.
Listen, she's very cute.
Did you comment on the giveaway?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
I
Thank
said,
you. I really appreciate you.
I think I said my favorite is obviously the car warranty joke. Car extended warranty joke.
Obviously, my favorite part is the car extended warranty joke. Yeah, that's what you said. I just looked. Oh.
I guess before we can go into this book, we can talk about the next month's schedule for the podcast. Which is going to start with, despite the fact that this is an erotica episode, we're not going to do a non-erotica episode because we're going to make a Kate and Crumb sandwich. The next one is the fourth Wicked Villains book, which is the Beauty and the Beast one. Very excited. Thruples. What I know about that one, I'll talk about it more because like the characters are in this book, but basically there's stuff about how she had to choose between Beast and Gaston at a point. But couldn't, and so it's very much like, oh no, love triangle, but then they just decide not to choose and thruple instead, which is iconic. Yes. And then the episode after that is The Wait in the Stars by Kay and Crumb.
The Wait in the Stars, Bestie? Okay, sure. That's what it's called.
Sure. I'm dead, okay? Shut up.
I love you.
What I know about it is space lesbians.
I've already read it. I very much enjoyed it. Does it live up to The Wicker King? Obviously not, because nothing can top The Wicker King. But I still give it 5 stars. Are we surprised?
No, because you're you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. The episode after
I feel like you'll like it. Probably. You like The Wicker King. It's written in the same style, and Jack and Augustina are in it too, and just... I'm fine. I'm okay. I didn't have a breakdown about it.
Chances are, this is probably going to be the one out of the two of them I would like more, because it's space, and I like space stuff. So...
I don't have a strong opinion about space, so that part was interesting.
This one's me-coded because space, and Wicker King was you-coded because mental health. Therefore... and seeing visions. So, obviously, anyways, the one after that
Ebener!
Someone's favorite book ever. I wonder who that is.
I need to rewrite my notes for that. I have them all written down, but I need to rewrite them and color code them.
And that's going to be the 25th episode ever. So exciting. And then after that will be the penultimate. Is that even the right term? Wait, I'm going to Google it.
It's the second to the last one? That's what you mean, that's what that means?
Yes.
I know what stuff means.
The penultimate.
You know why I know what that means?
Why?
The series of unfortunate events.
I'm sick. The Wicker King, seriously, the Wicked Villain series, which is another throuple one.
See, the Wicker King brain rot is getting to you too.
True. And it is Ursula, Eric, and Aurora. And Aurora so far has been in this one and the second one, and so probably also the next one. So she'll have been in 4 of them.
Well, you know.
But like Meg has been in every single one so far, and so has Hades. So.
I'm sorry if I don't win that Trish 6 Venom giveaway, I'm gonna be so upset.
I believe in you. Okay, time for the actual intro. Welcome to Fish Flower Podcast. I'm Flower, aka Rose. Very tired, very done with life, drinking water. What's my fun fact of the day, bestie? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh, I knew I was going to do something that was like something Bella related, so it could be Rose lore, but also Bella lore, right? Because very important, right? And
yes.
Like her name's Bella. You know what also has a very important name of Bella? Twilight. So
yes.
Sometimes when Bella is just ignoring, she does not listen to people at all. Especially when you're saying her name, so you have to say her name like 20 times, and sometimes. You know, it's the annoying thing, Bella 20 times. So sometimes I just say it like Michael Sheen's character on The Head of the Volturi says Bella's name in Twilight. I can't do the full accent that he does or anything, but I like lengthen the syllable and all this stuff, so I'm like, Bella. Just sometimes. And then every time I laugh, and then people think I'm crazy. So.
I mean, you are.
Yes, but that's your Rose lore for the day.
Okay, my name is Fish, aka Stingray, and my lore, I guess, is that I'm dyeing my hair tomorrow. Thank God it won't be blue anymore.
Wow.
I want tacos.
Okay, I'm having chicken parmesan for dinner.
Listen, I don't know if you follow me on my other Twitter account. You don't have Twitter. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyways, it doesn't matter. Basically, for the past few years, I will be like, it's Pride Month and I have taquitos. And then I'll be like, it's Pride Month but I don't have taquitos last year. But then I was like, update, I have taquitos. I haven't had taquitos this month. I broke the tradition. It's so sad.
I'm so sorry. Your fun fact for the day should have been that you downloaded 41 books today.
No, it was like 44.
Wild. I had 18. For those who do not know, the day that this goes up, and that we're recording it, is a day where a bunch of indie romance authors get together and put their books for free on Amazon. It's basically for free promotion. Makes sense, right? And there's this like website that has a list of all of them. So we were going through them. I did like a basic sweep, and then Stingray went through them all and sent me screenshots of a lot of them. So then I downloaded a bunch of those. I think 6 of those.
Listen, I feel like we should go through again because I feel like there's a lot of good ones for the podcast in there.
True.
The one with the lions.
I did download the Dragon Shifter box set.
The only weird one that I downloaded was you know the one I sent you with that's red with the big, like, the most muscly man you've ever saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded that one.
Dude, the way you just called Dragon Shifter Romance, weird. I already own multiple box sets, because they just occasionally, there's like a bunch of them, and they just, every once in a while, you see one free on Amazon, I'm just like, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart.
No, is that one the dragon one? I don't know. They just all went over my head. Honestly, I just saw it was free. It sounded like low-key interesting. Okay, I'll download it.
That was me. Yeah, I only did 18, and 12 of those were before you went through the list, and, I think some of them were, like, ones that you took screenshots of and sent to me, and I was like, okay, that intrigues me, I'll add it. But, 12 of them were just ones I found on the list, and most of those are for historical romances, so, good times.
Honestly, I downloaded all the, presumably, sapphic ones. I don't know why I said presumably. They're you know what I mean.
Sapphic. thing. Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, okay, I gotta get into that for a second. WLW is kind of annoying for obvious reasons, but like I prefer that, and I don't know why, but like Sapphic is like annoying to me, and I don't know why. But obviously, not all these characters are lesbians, so I can't just say they're lesbian books. So it's just like, what do I do? I think it's like the difference between like everyone using sapphic as an all-encompassing term, especially when they actually mean lesbians. You know what I mean? I think that's what bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, please call us lesbians. Like, just please. Like, if it's more than one type of label being used, yes, use sapphic. But if they're just lesbians, please just say lesbian.
Yeah. Anyways.
Sorry.
That side away. This is very much a stream of conscious podcast. Wow, couldn't tell. Oh my god. Very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. Very true. Very true. On today's episode, of course, is the third book in the Wicked Villain series. The way next month, well, I say next month, I'm counting it as July this exact second. August, I'm going to have finished this series. Which is so weird.
I'm
like, what
so
do
proud
I
of
read
you.
after this? Because, like, I do...
You have 27 million series that you need to finish.
True.
Do that, and then you can talk.
I've been for the podcast. Or erotic episodes.
I sent you like 27 million books, bestie.
Dude, I have a cracking one I already have. That, of course, I'm going to do next.
There's literally one with lines have extra... I can't say the words! I cannot say those words! Anyways,
yeah, this one is about Hook and Tink, and I think I'm just gonna go into content warnings first, cause it's kind of important, cause a lot of this book is, a lot with their past, and how, because of Tink's specific past, Hook was also there for some of it, but, basically, because of it, she has trust issues. Understandable. And so, like, that's, like, a basis of why, like, they are not officially together, despite the fact that it's basically a marriage of convenience, and eventually they do admit their love for each other, and they get together at the end. But, like, there's, like, a good chunk of the book where she's, like, trying not to be in love with him because of fear of her past, which includes, domestic abuse. That's a big part. I will say that, I am going after Peter Pan with a baseball bat. If those who know Stranger Things or The Walking Dead, with the baseball bat that has spikes or barbed wire, I would require one of those, and I'm going after him. So, you know.
Sorry. No, because that reminded me of this thing. Hold on, let me Google. Hold on, let me see what it is exactly. Do you know what the band? I don't know what word I would use there. Have you heard of the band Water Parks? Why did I Google? Why did I type in Google? Google search. I didn't.
Google, can you please tell me about Water Parks, please?
Oh my god, hold on, I gotta, okay, the lead singer, Austin Knight, spelled Awsten, Knight, he has a bat, and it's like, hold on, and it's like there's stuff on it. There's stuff on it. Yeah, it's teeth. It's teeth, yeah. I don't know why there's teeth. I don't know the lore behind the baseball bat, okay? I cannot lie. But there was a whole thing with him and having having a tooth bat, yeah.
Yeah, I see that. That's weird.
You're a weird man. He's a weird dude. Also, I was responding to a DM on Twitter, and then I just happened to see the astrology bot, so I decided to scroll through a little bit. And you appear to be living your life in a downward spiral, Virgo. And then one other tweet, then a tweet right below that tweet. Virgo, the color green looks good on you. Like, okay, just clock me next time. Like.
Yeah.
Just punch me in the face next
1-2.
time.
Yeah. Anyways,
and also not the Libra can't reach you, Virgo. Okay, which one? Which fucking one? There's so many of them.
That's so funny. Anyways, back to content warnings. My joke aside about me wanting to fight this man who
Do you want?
not
I love
exactly
how we were supposed to be like content warnings, and I'm just like tooth bat.
Mhm.
Australia bot.
What?
Astrology bot. I
Okay.
don't know why I said Australia. I haven't even taken my medication today. I don't know what the hell's happening.
I don't know.
Oh, I did have a breakdown yesterday, so this is like
It's okay. I'm in the middle of one.
whatever.
But yes, my joke's about this abuser side. For those who do not know, men who hurt women recently have been a theme in a few books I've read this month. And I have made jokes about riding at dawn and beating these men up with baseball bats, because I am a very tiny woman, but with baseball bat, I think I can take them. So, that is the moral of the story. Anyways, back to the content warnings. Sexual content, domestic abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, violence. There's also, like, murder, attempted murder. Those are the 5 on Storygraph, but there's, like, murder, attempted murder, attempted kidnapping.
Normal things.
Yeah. Abandonment.
Well.
Yeah. There was another one that I want. Oh, yeah, body image issues. Tink is a little bit of a larger woman. If you, like, look at the cover, I should have said them all to you, of, where they're, like, actual people on the cover, right? She's a slightly larger woman, and she's fine with that.
Honestly, I would hope so, considering the whole thing in, like, the original Peter Pan movie, where with, like, the hands and stuff, where just insinuating that Tinkerbell's ass is fat, you know? Like, I don't know.
True. Yeah, no, she's a little bit of a larger woman, and she, accepts this in herself, but she also recognizes that, like, sometimes, other people don't accept that, and then also, she still has...
Boo, tomato.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Though, don't worry, there are multiple times where Hook just picks her up and carries her places, and she's like, I'm too heavy, and he's like, no. And just carries her. And she's just there like, okay. Honestly, Hook is so sweet in this. He's second place for Sweet Boy that I love, because Hercules is still first place, and Hercules has 2 moments in this book, and I love this man. Next part is, you guessing how many pages of notes I took. For context, before we go into this, Desperate Measures, why won't it let me move, there we go, is 12 pages of notes, and about the same amount of words, 200 less words than I took for this one, but that one is all bullet points, and this one I did just paragraphs. After, like, every half hour, I would just write out a paragraph about what happened, so...
I'm feeling a solid 7. I don't know why. That's just
8.
never screaming at me.
So close, so close.
Oh my god.
It's 8. It's like not even like, it's like most of page 8 too, so. We're so close yet so far.
Not the cat playing with my sock. That's so funny.
I love that for you. Alright, so this book starts with Gaston, aka Gaston. It's Gaston, but without the S, right? So basically...
Respectfully, what's the point of that?
But
go off, I guess.
She does slightly change some of the names. Like, Tink has a different name. Like, Tink isn't her birth name. Hook isn't his birth name either. They have
I would hope not.
I don't know. Hercules' name is actually Hercules, so...
Well, I feel like that's kind of different, because I feel like that kind of works as, like, an actual name, but, like, the other ones are a tiny bit too weird. Does that make sense?
Yes. But, like, yeah, Beast is called Beast. Belle is Isabel, I believe. Or Isabella.
That one's gonna be weird.
Yeah, but yeah. Gaton, is basically at the club. Tink's still working there. There's like 2 more days before her contract ends, right? A little bit of stuff from the last book is basically we know that she made a contract with Hades for 5 years to get out of an abusive relationship, and her contract is ending soon. She wants to stay on, but also, like, it's clear that's out of fear of what's going to happen as soon as she's let go, and all this stuff. And she has a very close friendship with Meg because of working close with her this whole time, and has her own fashion business that she basically owns and runs and all that stuff. Does all the work.
Hell yeah.
Very important for this book. Because it starts off with Gaton being like, hey, when's my order going to be ready? As in, like, outfit order. And he insinuates in front of, like, all these people at the underworld of the club that he's going to try to have some fun with her while at it. So basically, hinting that they're totally going to bang. And she's, like, rolling her eyes. But there's 2 days left in her contract. And Hades orders her to his office, where he states Tink won't be able to stay on after working there for the 5 years. What she's upset about, she views this as sending her out to the wolves, since her abusive ex could try something as soon as she's out of Hades' protection, like as soon as she's out. And he's like, you'll be fine. Cough, cough.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very much like, sure. Spoiler, she's right. She does show a moment of weakness, or what she views as weakness, begging him to let her stay, but then instantly takes it back. And he says that she's a stronger woman than she was before. So Meg always calls Tink pint-sized, but she always views herself as too large to be a pixie. Like, she calls her pint-sized pixie, and she's like, because she's like 5 feet tall.
That's so cute.
And she thinks she's too, curvy to be a pixie, too large in general to be a pixie. I know. Then, so, like, Huck basically just dismisses her, and it's like, okay, someone is waiting for you in one of the private overnight rooms, which is, like, a big deal. Because, like, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to, like, request someone who's working there, like, even if they're a sub, you're not, like, supposed to just request them to, like, an overnight room and all this stuff. You're supposed to, like, bring a person there and do it with them there, not, like, take one of the employees there. And it's kind of very suspicious. And she, like, instantly mentions this, and Hades, and, like, views it as Hades not caring about her safety. And Hades is upset by this a little bit. He's like, how dare you think this about me? There are security cameras in there, and we'll have someone watching the whole time. And she's like, that doesn't stop if they already start something. Like, hello? But she enters the room anyways, putting on a mask of anger to protect herself, and, dun dun dun, the person in there is Hook. It's kind of obvious. Tink has an abusive past with Peter. We can talk about that in a bit, because, like, you do learn her age when they got together. I don't know what his age was, but,
Am I not gonna like that? I'm not gonna like that, am I?
You're not gonna like it. You're not.
Are we talking more Jake Gyllenhaal and Taylor Swift age gap, or more John Mayer and Taylor Swift age gap?
I don't even know if it's, like, age gap-wise. I think it may be, like, her being underage-wise. Because it's never mentioned how old he is, but he, like, gives, like, in his 30s, and she's, like, in her mid-20s in this book. And she's been working for Huck for 5 years, if that gives you an idea.
Are you trying to tell me this is quite literally the same age gap as Taylor Swift and John Mayer?
Possibly. But yeah, no, there may be some really creepy stuff in here. Love it. But on top of that, Hook also has an abusive past with, Peter, and has scars to prove it. Basically, Hook's father, was, like, Peter's second hand, right? And so, he got abuse from both of them. Working for Peter as well, yeah. There's, like, a part where she, like, notices while he's sleeping, like, a scar on his leg, and also some, like, cigarette burns. And he views it I didn't write it down, but he views his relationship with his father, who's like dead now, I'm pretty sure, as like,
Good.
he wasn't that bad, quote unquote, because like, he was an angry drunk, and like, he had to walk on eggshells in his own house, whenever he was drunk, but like, most of the time he was fine. It was only sometimes he'd snap and hit him or burn him.
Please be so serious.
And it's insinuated that it's not that bad in comparison to what Tink went through. So, you know,
Hear me out. No matter how quote unquote bad it is, it's still bad.
yes. And there's also a hint at some more of a past with Hook other than like him working for the guy who abused her, right? So Tink has made an effort to keep distance between them, in fear of her lust is actually love. Like, she has a thing for Hook, but she's like, what if I don't? Like, what if it's actually love and I don't recognize it? Also, she has a fear of her own feelings towards people because her like instincts and instant love for Peter, betrayed her because like he abused her. Cough, cough of the age. That's not even brought up for a bit, but like, let me tell you, you're ready to be angry. So Peter has been making political plays, and Hook doesn't think it's a coincidence that's right around the time Tink's contract is ending. Like, he's clearly trying to gain power again, so that he can take Tink back, and all this stuff. Also, shortly after she left Peter, Hook took over Peter's area, like, literally kicked him out, almost beat him to death, and took over his area in the city. So, like, with Peter gaining power, there's also a good chance he's going to come after Hook and try to take his city back, or his section back, right? He offers to give her Peter's head on a platter or lock him in a basement for years, end of quote. Like, not exact quote, but basically he's like, I will give you his head on a platter, or lock him in a basement for years and do all the things to him that he did to you.
You know,
iconic, love it. This suppresses Tink, especially since she once begged Hades to kill Peter, and he said no. Yeah. It's insinuated Peter forced her to look like how he wanted all the time. The stereotypical skinny blonde type, you know, good times. And since then, she has come into herself and her curves, her natural curves, the body type she always wanted, but also she just has more general confidence in general. She's questioning Hook's reasoning for wanting to help her out by taking down Peter, thinking it's a trap. And they both know that Peter will go after her, and he's offering protection and revenge, and in payment, cooperation. She doesn't understand the full extent of what he's saying yet. She thinks he just wants to bang. And the main reason she doesn't trust him is his positive outlook on life, despite having been in Peter's court and having gone through all that shit. He still like has this positive life outlook, and it's like kind of a thing later on in the book where like both their views on families and future and whatnot, and she's all like, yeah, but like sunshine and happy rainbows are not like a normal thing. Like, that's not a thing. And he's like, true, but we can still be happy. And she's like, oh, that's an option. You can still be happy even if it's not perfect, because there's no such thing as perfect. Oh yeah, it's the whole thing. When she asks what he wants, he steps closer to her, around the bed, because they're in a bedroom still, and says her and her hand, and she like gets a glimpse that he's like saying he wants to marry her, right? Also he calls her Tatiana, which is her old name, I mean, guess technically dead name, because she goes by Tink now, but she doesn't like how he uses it and knows that name, and she doesn't like the name because, she basically tried to, shed herself of everything that, was there when she was with Peter, and all, like, to, like, free herself from the trauma of the abuse and whatnot, and that includes the name. So very quickly, it comes up that she doesn't like that name, and he's just instantly stops using it. We love that for her. She notices how Hook never drinks, and she doesn't want to agree to the marriage due to the outcome of a relationship already. She's like, I already went through one bad relationship, don't need another one. He gives her his private number, saying he'll show up anytime, And when she tries to throw it out, he says she'll need it and like closes it up in her hand. Um, and then he says when she does agree, he won't publicly fuck her, which is a big thing because he does like watching people do it. Um, you know, um, but yeah, he's basically like it could be like a private affair. It's fine. Um, so also we learned Tink doesn't like Hades in general. Yeah.
Kind of valid.
Yeah. He basically, it's the last day, her contract is done, and he calls her into her room. Meg is all like, I don't want you to go. Hercules also doesn't want her to go. Yeah.
Hercules!
The icon. Hades offers her a forever membership to the club, which is like a big deal. Because like, no one who isn't super rich has a forever membership, but still pisses her off, because like, he's kicking her out of her house and home. And also place of employment. Yep. And he recognizes this and says it's because she needs a push to become her full self. And she has her already profitable self-made business and savings. This is a big deal later on, because something that Peter does. And all that. And so, like, technically she'll be fine, is basically his reasoning. He also says because of Meg's caring for Tink, he will be kind and allow her to stay at the Underworld for, like, 3 days, or keep her stuff at the Underworld for 3 days, so she can find living arrangements. And it's supposed to be, like, some kind of, like, seem kind of him, like, oh, he's so sweet, but, like, he says that her time to, like, find a place starts immediately, like, that second, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And it's not much time for a woman who has probably never rented on her own, especially, this was before I learned her age when she got with Peter, right? She's never had to rent a place on her own. She's never lived alone. She's either been with Peter in foster care or at Hades' underworld compound, right? She technically just got laid off from her previous employment of 5 years. So how is a self-made businesswoman who, like, is just getting her business off the ground supposed to find an apartment in a place nearby? Because if she stays in Hades' area, there's a better chance of her staying safe, but they're, like, super expensive because they're safest area. Right? In, like, 3 days? Like, hello? Is this man okay in the head? Right?
No.
So she feels betrayed. Especially with all the work she's done for Hades basically being thrown out. And then he has one of the bodyguards, which is, I've never, like, said the names of the bodyguards. It's kind of important, though. Electo is, like, the head bodyguard, and he has her watch Tink pack up her immediate necessary stuff, and escort her out of the building in 10 minutes. Like,
what?
Yeah. Don't worry, though, she makes sure to pack her tasers and mace.
Real.
Her reasoning for not accepting Huck's marriage proposal is she just got her freedom back and won't give it up again so soon. And then she goes to call a car but doesn't know where to go. Like, there's this whole thing where she's like, I could go to Jasmine's, but, like, Jasmine just became a leader of an area. And, like, then she'll have to, like, worry about keeping me in line and all that stuff. And then she's like, she could go to, like, all these other places, blah, blah, but, like, she doesn't really have any friends and all this stuff, and she's super sad about it. She doesn't know where to go. Yeah. And then she decides, hey, I'm going to stay in Hades' territory because it's safer, because it's, neutral territory and all this stuff. But, like, their rent is super high. But she's like, I gotta do it. And she feels like someone is watching her as she's leaving the club. When someone trips her, and, the man who goes to catch her, and won't let go. Like, it has grips on her and whatnot. She turns around to be like, what the fuck? It's Peter. Instantly. Literally instantly. As soon as she leaves the building.
What? Was that man just had a fucking countdown in his back pocket?
Apparently. There's, like, hints that maybe Hades would have told him, in a deal or whatnot. Because, like, in the first book, he literally sells Jasmine to, an abusive asshole. So, you know, it's hinted that, like, he could have made a deal. But she doesn't think that he would have because like there's stuff about her and Meg's friendship later on, and Meg wouldn't have allowed him to do it, and she knows all the deal stuff, so probably didn't. But like, there's a hint that maybe that's possibly. So basically, he forcefully takes her down all these back streets and plans to take her like behind this alley. Saying that he's getting what he's owed, and she knows it's her life. And she knows that he's probably gonna kill her. And then this is when we learn they started their relationship when she was 16. He was at least 18 at this time. Probably older. Because he was running a territory at this time. So he was probably
let me just fictionalize myself for a good chunk of time. I'd be back.
And also, it hinted that his views on this is that he saved her from a situation.
What kind of situation? What does that mean?
Yeah, basically he views, because she was in foster care, he saved a 16-year-old girl by grooming, abusing, some, like pedo shit, just, like, because it's heavily noted multiple times that they did bang a lot, because, like, there's this whole fight between him and Hook, and so, basically, yeah, he was definitely banging a 16-year-old when he was definitely much older than her. Yeah. Fun times. Anyways, back to the actual what's happening in the book. So, Hercules had followed her out of the club because he was gonna help her find a place, and he felt bad about her being kicked out and all this stuff, and he was like, yeah, later on, he does go, like, yeah, I tried to get him to let you stay, but he wouldn't fucking listen to me, and he does try to, like, go back, after this, and, like, go to Hades, but she's like, nah, it's fine, because Cockroach will go to hell instead, but basically, Hercules shows up, and, makes Peter leave. And the way Ting's inner monologue is like he's a cinnamon roll, but he's built like a god and will fuck someone up for hurting those he loves. And I'm just like, I love this man. I love Hercules. This cinnamon roll just shows up ready to fight this man. Making Peter.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to paint my nails, and like, for some reason my thumbnail's been really weird lately, and now it just has like a giant big old like hump in the middle. Like, it always had a hump, but now it's like really extra humpy in the middle, so it's like the nail polish is pulling weird on my nail. So it's like there's like gaps in the layer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I've been having so many nail polish problems lately. Like, it's making me want to bash my head against the wall.
I believe in you. So, Peter gets down on one knee and checks on her, like, make sure she's okay. She does have, like, marks in her skin, it's mentioned later on, from, like, his nails biting into her, wrist, that, like, it actually broke through skin and whatnot, and she's very upset about this, later on. She's about to have a breakdown over this because, like, of course, right. And so Hercules just holds her as she's sobbing into his shoulder.
We love Hercules.
I love him. So he's all like, I'll go back to Hades, and she's like, no. And she says only having one option and goes to Hook. And then it switches to Hook's point of view, who's talking to his cousin, Nigel. He has, like, two cousins, that are pretty big in his security department and whatnot, and one of them's Nigel and the other one's Colin, right? So Nigel is the one who informs him that Tink has shown up. They made a bet on how long it would take her to show up, and Hook won. It's funny because, like, as soon as he realizes it's because Peter tried something, he's all, like, ready to throw hands. Like, Hook already views her as his.
Me with this nail polish right now.
Loyalty of his men is wavering ever since Peter started to make waves again, because, like, it's technically previously Peter's territory, and previously a lot of them were Peter's men. So, like, while Peter ruled with, like, fear, Hook doesn't, And so, he's worried that, like, some of his men are secretly working for Peter, helping him out with some stuff, all this stuff. Right? It's hinted that Hook was the one, oh yeah, that took over Peter's territory. I already talked about that. And he didn't kill Peter that day because he didn't want to become, Peter or his father, in killing people, cough cough, but nearly beat him to death. Hook recognizes he is probably a reminder to Tink of her past trauma, and that's why she tries to fight him all the time. But he's watched her become into herself, and appreciates it. He didn't originally notice her fear, when, like, he walks into the room that she's in. It's like his office, and she's just going through all the drawers, having a good time, just snooping on him. And so he walks in, and, like, he does notice that she's scared of something, but he doesn't notice it right away because he's too busy checking her out. But yeah, he's ready to fight Peter, for already trying something. He tells her to accept the deal, and he'll handle it immediately. And she asks, hey, what do you get out of this fake marriage, right? And which he says is her.
Well,
Yep, he gets hurt out of it. That's what he wants. He only wants her to submit in the bedroom. He wants her to be like herself, like her normal feisty self. Otherwise, even the bedroom sometimes. Hear me out. I have a whole theory about Hook's type. Anyways, she says she won't have sex with him, and he instantly agrees. Sex is off the table, since he wants her willingly. She's like, well, I won't have sex with you, so what are you getting? Like, she's like, well, I'm not gonna have sex with you. And he's like, okay. And she's like, that's a little weird. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to, like, force you to be with me. I want you to be with me because you want to be with me. Like, mind-boggling, am I right, ladies? Anyways. But yeah, she finds it super suspicious that he agreed to it super fast and all this stuff. But decides to agree due to lack of choice, and he feels bad that she doesn't really have any other choices but him, right? The marriage deal, like when the fake marriage will end, doesn't technically have an end date, but he says they will end it when it's wanted, and then calls up a priest, instantly to come over and, like, sign the marriage license, all this stuff, but wishes he was the type of man who could make sure she actually wants to marry him, and that she's okay with all this and all that fun stuff, but, like, he's not. It's hinted the partial reason why Hook is doing this is to secure his position, which will help him against Peter. Also, I don't think I specifically say it, but basically, Peter's been, like, in hiding for, like, months now, doing little things against Hook, making his life live in hell. And so, by marrying Tink, it will bait him out of his hiding, and so then Hook can kill him. That is also part of the plan, right? So the priest that comes is Father Elijah. And
I'm sorry, I don't know why that's funny.
And he is another victim of Peter.
Oh. God damn, this man's just victimizing everybody, huh?
Yeah, no, so, basically, Father Elijah ran, the church, in the territory, when Peter was in charge and all this stuff. He does again now, but, he was in charge, of the church and all this stuff. And, basically, Peter, very, the controlling, abusive type, didn't like that his girlfriend was going to church, all the time, because it was, like, one of the few things she could do, cough, cough. So he was like, well, you can't go to church anymore. So Father Elijah...
Please be so serious.
I know. And then Father Elijah showed up and was like, hello, tried to get him to agree to let Tink go to church, all this stuff. And so, Peter reprimanded him by cutting up his face.
What?
Yep. So, like, he has a bunch of scars on his face now. And then, because of the treatment of the shit that he did to Father Elijah and whatnot, that is why she finally decided to leave him and run. We love that for her. Also, so Father Elijah shows up, and she, like, instantly feels bad. She, like, uses her fault, all this stuff. And he's like, no. But he's also like, I'm super proud of you for getting out, and all this stuff. And she's like, dude, I've been working at a sex club for the past 5 years. And he's like, so? You still got out of a horrible situation. It does not matter what you've been doing in that time. You just got out of a horrible situation.
The only valid religious person ever.
We love Father Elijah. He doesn't really come back up, but we love him.
That's so sad. He should come back.
Also, the whole time, she's been donating part of her paycheck to the church, Elijah's church. The past 5 years, to like out of guilt, out of what happened to him, which I find very sweet. When he learns this, is like, what the fuck? And then they get married, yay! Oh yeah. Also, when he went to Peter to like have it so Tink could go to church and all this stuff. Also, part of the reason why is because he also tried to like stop the abuse. He also like tried to stop the abuse while he was there. He was like, you let her go to church and like maybe you shouldn't hit her. And he was like, bitch, and then sliced up his face. So you know, very sane man.
Yeah.
Every time someone calls Tink Tatiana, she feels like they're forcing her back into the role of victim that she's fought so hard to escape. So she recognizes how similar Hook is running the territory to how Peter did it. And she knows Hook has watched her like this whole time, past 5 years. And when she says that she doesn't want any manhandling, hinting, like he grabs onto her arm to like not like forcefully pull her, but like direct her towards the room that they'll be sharing and all this stuff. And she's like, I don't want any manhandling. It's obvious that like it reminds her too much of Peter, and he instantly agrees. He's like, nope, I won't do anything, and that's if you unless you agree. In the bedroom, and even then you have the safe word. Don't worry, it will come up later. She notices that he's super hot. You know, normal things. So,
yes.
Back in the old days when she was with Peter, all of his men would look at her with, like, constant lust, but also hatred, and Hook was the only one to not do that. Remember, she was 16! Most of these men were in their 20s and 30s. She was 16.
I'm gonna pretend like I understand how a grown-ass man is gonna look at a child and, like,
that is 4
be like,
years
oh, that's
you.
attractive, or, oh, I don't like this person. Like, that's a child. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. The reason Tink kept her distance was fear that he would drag her back to Peter. Initially, she says she won't sleep in the bed until he cleans the sheets. And he just continues talking about plans, which are basically, he's going to take her to the underworld, where they're going to publicly announce their marriage, and all this stuff. Oh, also, the ring he got her is, like, her perfect ring. Like, the ring she would have chosen for herself, and it fits her perfectly, and all this stuff. And she's like, okay, the shower in the room is, like, basically a whole wall that you can, like, look into, from the bed, like, very clearly, and all this stuff. Very important.
Okay.
So, because he goes and washes up, which means he strips down, which means she can see everything.
Uh-huh.
So basically, he goes, you enjoy the show, because, like, he knows that she's watching. And she says that she's already seen his shows, because he's the type of person who likes to publicly watch and also do things. So, like, she's already seen them. And says that it's nothing special. He says it is special because it's just for her. And so, she decides to just sit on the bed while he showers, and then, notices when she sits in the bed that, he already cleaned the sheets. He washed them preemptively, knowing that she was going to show up. Yep. There's also some other things. I'll bring that up later. She is still able to see him. His back is to her, but she can still see him. in which he starts stroking himself.
I'm
only on page 2 of notes. I was literally voice messaging you freaking out when this started.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I was like, every time I read one of these, as soon as the sex starts, I'm like, oh my god. But then I'm like, no, this is what I'm reading. I chose this book. I'm a dumbass. But yeah, he starts stroking himself in clear view of her, so she starts, having fun with herself. But like his back is to her, and there's like a little bit of a wall thing in the way, so like he can't directly see her, but she can directly see him. There's some cute sex banter, good times. Hook hints that she's always tempted him. The fact that Hook saw her when she was the quote-unquote ideal body type and is seeing her now as someone more curvy, and being into those curves excites her. Like, she can tell that he's into her, and the fact that, like, he saw her before she had the curves, and is into her now, he's like, she's into it. So he asks her safe word, and, it's pirate, and it's hinted that there's a deeper meaning, which basically relates to Hook, basically. It's a thing that people always say that he looks like a sexy pirate. Right?
What?
Yeah,
I need you to repeat that. What?
Her safe word is pirate, which is a hint to him because everyone always says that he looks like a sexy pirate. So her safe word is about him. He's very prideful about this fact.
No, like, Bestie, the words aren't wording in my brain. Like, I'm hearing you, but it's like, Charlie, like in Charlie Brown, where everyone's like the adults are like, meh, meh, meh.
Oh my god. Well, don't worry, because next up, he sucks her masturbation fingers.
What?
He sucks her masturbation fingers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says her things will be moved in throughout the next few days, and his man will protect her, but she should stay in the house until the marriage is publicized. With a quick subject change, like it's a real quick subject change, after she turns down his offer of sex. She eventually reminds herself he has some sort of plan, and that Peter became worse when he got power, so there's nothing stopping Hook from also becoming abusive. Also, except there's a whole thing about his thoughts on that. Yeah. Also, the idea of being a prisoner, despite Hook knowing her past, brings out her trauma response. Oh yeah, so he just like leaves the room, to go do business things like a businessman, and all this jazz. And so basically, he leaves her in the room on her own, and she views it as being like a prisoner, kind of like what Peter would do to her. So it brings out her trauma response. So she decides to get revenge via clothes. You don't know what that means for a bit, for like a chapter or two. Good times. How close to dying is my computer? Not very.
What?
Nothing. My computer's
okay.
Close to dying.
I have no idea what you just said.
That's fine. So, Hook does want Tink more than anything, but he's also doing this to bait Peter out of hiding so he can kill him. And he's surprised Hades let Tink go since she has a ton of information on powerful people in the city due to working for him. Nigel is upset that Hook low-key forced Tink back into this life. It's hinted that Nigel always had a soft spot for Tink and tried to stop the abuse, which only led to him and made the situation worse for her. So we love how like the few guys that he kept on from Peter's original crew are the guys who like actually tried to stop the abuse. Good times. Hook knows Peter has spies in his people stealing his weapon shipments and hiding Peter, which is a big deal because like he's losing money. And needs this to be solved within next week. The way I forgot, this whole book takes place in a week. He re-enters the room, their bedroom, to find his clothes gone, like all his clothes, and Tink doing up her hair and makeup. And he's initially going like, "What the fuck?" But like gets distracted because she's super hot. Um, but eventually,
I lost the cat. Rose, Rose Bestie, I really can't find the cat right now. Kitty! And the door is open, and it kind of goes to the back door sometimes. And no one takes it outside sometimes. Kitty! I'm stressed. Where's this cat? Where is the cat? Kitty! It usually starts growling. Everybody, did you eat the kitty cat? Where's the kitty? Did you eat it? Where's the kitty? Everybody, did you eat it? It's under my bed. Glasses, please. Okay, she's under my bed. Okay. It's sleeping. Okay, it's okay. Okay, we're good.
alright. I low-key have to go pee, but I'll continue.
I was panicking. I cannot lie to you.
Um,
No, I'm supposed to go back to normal in a second. I unplugged the earbuds.
alright, so he's wondered where his clothes are, but gets distracted because, she's hot, right? But eventually asks, and there's like this cute banter moment where she's like talking, in like, supposed to be like a 50s housewife type voice about, how, oh, she's such a dutiful wife who sent out all his clothes to dry clean and all his stuff. And in that moment he wants to kiss her. Uh, and then he notices that all her like beauty items take up a bunch of his space, and her clothes takes up a lot of his closet, and he finds pride in that. He's not annoyed by it. Anyways, he starts going through all the closets and drawers and whatnot to try to find any of his clothes, and finds some of her lingerie, and sees some of it is that notices that some of it is some that he's never seen before, and is jealous of whoever got to see her in them. He views her. Oh yeah, so like the whole thing where like he views her as his. Well, he also views himself as hers. That was a complicated statement to say. Say it 5 times fast. When she snaps at him for calling her Tatiana again, he says he won't use it anymore, except that she's left it behind long ago. Along with her past, and it's not his place to argue with it, because it's her coping. We love it.
Yes.
So there seems to be some past where when she left Peter, Hook offered to save her. And I assume something went wrong, kind of technically. They go to the underworld where Aurora immediately offers to help her get out of the marriage, and Tink realizes that they're friends. Hook knows her favorite drink and gets it, and she's surprised by this. Um, Tink likes being a not the phone. Who is calling my house? Oh my goodness.
Okay, like, I like this nail polish. Like, but like, I just wish it would, like, work correctly, because like, it was, like, more expensive, because it's Essie. Like, I don't understand why I have so many issues with nail polish. Like, I need to buy new nail polish, too, and it's just like, why? Just why? Because, like, for something I do so often, I have so many fucking problems with it, and it's so annoying.
Yeah. Alright. Where was I? There I was. So we learned Tink likes being a sub due to the power and control she gets from using one word. And she knows that she's bait for Peter, and Hook feels bad, but confirms it. Um, he notices how her feeling down about being used and being forced into remembering her past again. So he takes her to one of the uh, private rooms for her prize, where he strips her down and blindfolds her before leaving the room, where three people are outside waiting for him, and these people are Beast, Malone, um, uh, the Maleficent, I guess technically, from the last book, and Gaton. Um, Gaton and Beast work for the same man, the Man in Black. He's kind of like the most powerful man in the city, right? Um, and have some kind of past. And Gaton and Hook have some kind of friends with benefits. So also all three of them have previously been with Tink. So know what she likes and can be with her while he watches and controls everything. Um, but they're not allowed to let her reach completion. He lets them into the room, but Tink doesn't know immediately that they're all there. And when he asks, what do you want, she says, Hook's cock. But there's an agreement that they will not be together sexually until, basically she gets down on her knees for him. It's supposed to be like this whole thing. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. Bessie, this is the one I rated the lowest so far. I say it's
Yeah, I
rated at
noticed.
3.75 instead of 4 stars.
I noticed. I
Um,
noticed. Oh,
but yeah, there's lots of pain and pleasure, sexy times. And Hook offers all three. He says, "Do you want 3 cocks? Because you can have up to 3 cocks." And I immediately assumed he meant himself, Gaton, and Beast, and she says yes. Um, but no, the third one is actually a strap-on that Malone puts on. Um,
you know.
Hook cuts off her bra. She's low-key pissed because it's expensive. Understandable. She notices that Hook steps when he's like stepping around to like command everyone and what they do and all this stuff. He's stepping purposely loud and heavy so that she knows where he is at all times because she's still blindfolded at this point. She makes a point because he's like, "Do you trust me?" And she says, "With my body," and he says, "That will do for now." Also, don't worry, I literally wrote down, and I quote, "They use condoms, don't worry."
So
She thinks she may love Hook for giving her 3 cocks for her wedding night if she didn't hate him.
I'm sick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh, so Gaton, we learned a little bit about Gaton's past. He was in a relationship that crashed and burned, and that's why he's mean all the time. It's hinted that both Hook and Tink know that her safe word is a hint to Hook. Yeah. And while he says he's guiding the scene, right? She says his real name, which is Jameson. And then also at one point, Gaton kisses her stomach, and while she loves her body, she's insecure about her weight and stomach size. So she's like, he could literally kiss me anywhere else. Like, so basically, okay, to set up the scene, as they're going at it, is she's on Gaton's lap, facing towards him, while Malone is going at her from behind, and then Beast is in her mouth.
I'm trying to understand the logistics of the situation.
No, it's literally me like playing Tetris with these characters in my head. Like, it's really funny because then she feels bad because like she realizes Hook is getting nothing out of this. He's just watching and commanding them all. He's like getting no pleasure out of it. So she feels bad, so she reaches out behind him. There's also like this whole thing where like if she wants to stop because like she can't say her safe word because there's a dick in her mouth. So if she wants to stop, she has to hit Gaton's chest, right? And then they'll all stop immediately. So she reaches behind her. While this is all happening, all three of them are going at her at the same time. She reaches behind her and starts undoing Hook's pants. And so he makes Beast leave her mouth and goes, "What do you want, beautiful girl?" That's like his nickname for her, his pet name for her is beautiful girl. And she says that she wants I don't know what happens to Beast after this, but she wants Gatan to while he's going at it with her to suck Hook off as well. So I assume Beast goes back in her mouth. Do you see the Tetris game I'm playing?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out already because if she's, and I've already forget who's all in this scene.
Yeah.
If she's in somebody's lap, but someone's also, I'm confused already.
So she's on Gatan's lap, and Malone's going at her from behind.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how exactly we're all configured here because if she's on
and then
his
Beast
lap,
is standing at her mouth, and then Hook is also standing.
So are they just okay?
At Gatan's mouth.
He's sitting wherever or laying wherever he's laying.
So
right?
yes, so Gatan's sitting
She's
in
his
a couch.
lap.
Gatan's sitting in a couch. She's in his lap.
Okay, and they're sitting behind the couch, each shoulder just like is there one behind one shoulder, one behind the other shoulder? Is that what's happening?
I think I think the way it has to work is that like Beast is at one of her shoulders, and then but like also I don't think so. I think Beast is at one of her shoulders, but next to Beast somehow is also Hook because she's like watching Hook the whole time this is all happening. As he is being sucked off as well by Gatan, who's in front of her. So they're like both pointed in that direction. Yeah.
This is too confusing for me.
Yeah.
I'm confused when there's just two people in the situation at the time, okay?
Yeah. So there's three men, and they all release on her stomach. It's important, trust me. And then afterwards, they remove the blindfold. Oh, she's not looking at him because she's blindfolded. I'm a dumbass. He notices her interest at watching Gatan, who is a switch, and going at it, but knows she needs a moment. So he picks her up and carries her to a separate room, where she can come down in peace. She is worried, she's too heavy for him, but he carries her with ease. And then, as they're like laying on this couch, he just writes, oh my god, I remember this because it was freaking the fuck out. He writes, in the cum on her stomach by two other men, writes mine.
I'm sorry. I
literally hit my wall when that happened. I went, what the
I'm sorry. I know it anyway. I know.
So, he leaves the side room, probably to go talk to him alone, and, Beast for a minute while Gatan comes in, and he starts having a conversation, because, like, Hook and Gatan are supposed to go at it after this, right? While she's coming down, and so, Gatan, like, starts making jokes about, her future of having kids with, Hook, which pisses her off. I'll explain why later. So, she remembers how, Peter used the promise of kids as a way to placate her and is trying to stop a trauma flashback of this, right? When Hook comes back in the room, and he instantly notices, so he starts holding her again and forces Gatan to leave, and he's like, do you want to stay here or go home? And she doesn't want to stay at the underworld because, like, she just got kicked out of there, basically. But also, like, she doesn't want to go, quote-unquote, home because she doesn't really have a home at the moment. Oh, yeah, so, the cleanup cloths, for after the fact, there's, like, some in the room already on all this stuff, but he brought a heater thing so that they could be warm when he used them to clean her up. And she's like, that wasn't necessary. And he is proud that she called his full real name, when she reached completion. Very important. We're only on page 3, dear God. So, Hook loves kissing Tink.
Please hurry up. I'm only 15% of the way into this book that I need to finish today.
I'm only 8% into the book I need to finish today, so.
How long is your book?
I don't know. Pretty long.
Well, are you listening to it? Are you reading it with your eyeballs? What's
Reading
happening?
it with my eyeballs and taking notes.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you read faster than me, so it's okay.
Okay. Hook would rather cut off his hand than hurt her against her will. Yeah, I didn't get the joke until later on. We'll talk about it. He eats a meal, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean you didn't get it? I'm sick.
I didn't get it until like 10:30 p.m. last night when I was finishing this book, and I went, I'm a fucking dumbass. He threatens every time she fights against him, he'll eat her right then and there, and she's like, that sounds like more of a, like, thing that I'd want other than a punishment, and he's like, no, I'll do it, like, no matter where we are, I'll instantly just pull up your dress and go at it, and she's like, aww. Yeah, he makes sure she knows he'll take care of all her needs, and then carries her out of the building while everyone watches them. They're still in the underworld. But she complains she's too heavy, which he straight up just ignores. He's just like, I'm just gonna carry you out of this building. So she says since her pussy is his, then his cock is hers. And he agrees. And they also agree that they won't be with other people without the other one's agreement, right? Makes sense. Normal conversations a couple of the staff would make, right? They can play with each other, but no straight up sex until she agrees to be intimate and does the whole, like, crawling on her knees thing. He goes to undress her so she can clean up, which she says she's 25. And so, it's like, because of that, like, we know that she was with Peter for 4 years. And she's been undressing herself for most of that time. So, like, she can do it herself. And he says, that he's only been undressing her for a few hours, so he gets to do it. She views this as him trying to tame her like a horse. And she's like, I'm not a horse. And he's like, no, you're not. That's fucking dumb. And she's like, okay. And then he washes her hair. He has a thing with, like, playing with her hair. Like, before every scene, he'll, like, braid her hair, take his time to braid her hair every time. And, like, at one point she does question why. And, he says because he wants to see her face. And also he has, like, shoulder-length hair, and he's like, it's the worst thing ever to, like, be doing something, important and, like, have your hair in your face. So, like, he braids it out of her face and all this stuff. And then, like, currently he's, like, washing her hair for her. He has a thing for her hair. I get it. It's super long and blonde. Clearly, I would be into her, especially when she teaches a bitch later on. Spoilers.
Yes, we understand, Rose, that your type is blonde.
Yes.
Who could hurt you?
Blonde, yeah.
We know, bestie. The real question is, do you know my type?
Boobs.
Wow, you're so creative.
So his explanation for washing her hair is that he wants to take care of her. So he will. And she thinks that it's just he wants her to submit, and it turns out he actually just wants communication, but since she snarks a lot, then the safe word is real important to him, and that's kind of like the only way that they communicate properly. And then they cuddle in bed, which makes her feel safe, which then makes her have a panic attack, because she's never felt safe before, never with Peter, never in foster care, all the stuff.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and so Hook's already asleep at this point, but his sleeping form senses that she's having a panic attack, and
what the fuck?
Just pulls her closer to him and holds her. He's asleep, and he just does this. And
what
then,
the fuck?
in the process of doing that, the blanket, like, went down a little bit, so she notices more of, like, his stomach and thighs. And notices the cigarette burns, caused by his father, and also, like, a scar on his thigh, probably from Peter. Which then reminds her...
Peter, honestly.
I know, right? Which reminds her of her past with Peter again, so then, she starts having a panic attack again. Because, yeah. So in order to give some control, because she needs control in this moment, she gives Hook a blowjob. And instead of trying to, like, command the whole situation, and all this stuff, he notices it as her needing to take the power for the moment, and so he lets her, which she's, like, surprised by.
Wait, I thought this man was asleep. Oh my eyes.
He was, but she woke him up.
Okay.
And then gave him a blowy. And then afterwards, he goes to be caring, and be like, oh my god, are you okay? Because, like, you were panicking, and then you gave me a blowjob. Are you okay? Right?
Yeah, because you just have panic attacks and give people blowjobs. That's a normal thing, yeah.
Totally. And she starts panicking again. But this time, because of, like, the onslaught of emotions, like, caring for him and him caring for her and all this stuff, so she locks herself in the bathroom on the verge of a breakdown. Like, she's about to cry. And, like, crying is a big deal for her. She never really does it and all this stuff.
Bro.
And eventually he agrees to let her, like, handle herself, be on her own for 30 minutes, and he'll go to, like, some meeting. But, like, after the 30 minutes are up, he's gonna come up, and if she doesn't open up the door for him, he will kick down the door. And so he goes to this meeting where Nigel says to Hook, could you just try talking with her?
Bro.
And Hook gets in his face like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
Okay, I low-key see already why you gave this one a little bit lower of a rating.
I find Hook really funny at points, but, like, it's a very repetitive. Also, there's, like, very few sex scenes in comparison to the other ones, fun fact. So Hook plans to have her stuff there soon, which he hopes will help comfort her, and also wants her to, like, continue working on her fashion business stuff, because he's like, it'd be good for her.
Yeah.
And then one of the men comes in yelling about Tink trying to leave and it not looking good, and Hook is like, how could it not look good? She's 5 feet tall, but he runs out. And finds her with a giant knife, threatening one of the men if he doesn't let her leave. And he's like, where the hell did she get a knife?
That's a very valid question, because I'm also asking this question.
He goes to Tink to try to, like, calm her down. Obviously it's, like, her trauma response, being, like, feeling like she's locked up again, and whatnot, and wanting to get out. And he recognizes this, so he goes to, like, calm her down, and she just takes a swing at him. And he makes her drop the knife, and then holds her, on his shoulder, and, takes her up to their room. There's, like, a whole fight that they have, where basically, she shouldn't have done that, because that will, not help with the morale of the men that he has left, and all this stuff, and she does eventually recognize this and feel bad.
There's so much happening.
And also, like, he wants her to talk to him instead of, like, honest, automatic trauma responses of fighting people, you know, good times. So then, she's, like, freaking out, so he pushes her down on the bed and, like, basically is controlling her with the size of his body. He feels really bad about this. And tells her that the knife, move was something Peter would do in an attempt to get it through her head that what she did was stupid for multiple reasons. She says that she hates him, and that hurts him. And he says he'll be back for dinner despite wanting to stay and figure out what's going on in her head. And so he just straight up leaves. And then instantly switches to her POV, and she's like, yeah, the knife thing was a bad idea. And she thinks Hook doesn't care about her well-being since he makes her stay in the room all day alone, due to the knife attack. So Colin, his other cousin, comes up, and he's, like, basically her personal bodyguard, and gives her a phone that has, that Hook had, like, made with all these numbers in it, and not only does it have Hook's name in it, but also has Meg and a few of her friends' numbers in it, and she's like, wow. She assumes, Hook won't get her stuff, for a while since he has other things to do, despite saying he'd get it soon. And she's annoyed by this because, like, she has actual business, and, that stuff is there. And there's this dress that needs to be made, like, as soon as possible, because, like, it's a lot of work and all this stuff. So, yeah, you know, it makes sense. So she calls up Meg, saying that Meg, is into, like, bitch, I would have fought Hades so much harder if I had known you were desperate enough to marry Hook. I'm like, but she Hercules not tell you about Peter trying to attack her immediately? Like, also he tried to attack her in Hades' territory, which is neutral ground, which is like a big no-no. And no one cares about that.
Ow! Sorry.
Tink almost tells her the truth about like the fake marriage of convenience type thing, but decides not to, knowing Hades will use it, because then Meg will tell Hades, because that's what she does, and then Hades will use it, and for his, like, whole deals and power plays and all that stuff. So Meg offers to get her out of the marriage at any point, because friendship, and Tink says she just wants to give drinks with friends. She questions the 5 years of keeping everyone at a distance out of fear of getting in a similar situation with Peter again, and she gets Meg to send over her work stuff, who contemplates personally dropping it off to check on her. Meg feels bad Tink had to re-enter the life she ran from. Literally, it was her man's fault that she had to re-enter this life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, apparently in, like, the room, there's, like, a whole, like, apartment thing upstairs type thing. Like, the way the vibes are is, like, it's a building where, like, the low levels are, like, for business stuff, and then upstairs is, like, the bedroom and the bathroom, with that weird shower, but also a kitchen, and in the fridge, there's just, like, a bunch of produce, which means that Hook cooks, and she's like, what?
A man cooking? What?
Yeah. So, Tink likes and, wants Hook, and decides she will crawl on her knees for him, so she can have some of that, good times. So Hook still hasn't seen any proof of Peter, hasn't seen him, like, no one's seen him type thing, yeah. But there's proof that he's been fucking with the business. He returns to find, Tink working on that dress, and he watches her for a bit, and she knows. He brings up the idea that she could have a degree if it weren't for Peter, but then Tink brings up she had a past before Peter, and that's just hopeful thinking, like, lowly foster care kid who had nothing in her whole life, chances are she wouldn't have gotten a degree anyways, like. He's upset because she keeps on fighting against him like he's always been the bad guy, but apparently one day when Peter and his father were out, Hook's father and Peter were out, he had Nigel stash a bunch of money and had a car ready to take her away, and hide her, but she reminds him Peter would have known, because he had, like, people on her at all times, so he would have known instantly, so it wouldn't have done anything, it would have just made things worse for her, right? He's mad she blames him for failing to get her out, and being part of the problem. Like, his view is that she blames him for trying and failing, but also, like, being part of the problem, like, working for the guy at the same time, right?
I mean, did he really have a choice in that, though? Like,
no, not really, no.
Like, I get it, but, like, girl.
She does later question his whole decision-making of, like, yeah, he took down Peter, but, like, did you have to take over the territory that Peter ran? And did you, like, really have to even stay here? Like, you could have just left. Like,
who's gonna take it over, bestie?
I don't know. He pours her orange juice. I don't know, he just pours her orange juice and she drinks it. She fights him because he decided to stay and take over, yeah. Instead of having normal life, they agree to only fight in private. There's some bantering, and she says, oh god, this part. She says, tell me something, else. And so he says, she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, and he almost tripped over himself when he first saw her, when Peter made their relationship public, assumably after she was 18, and was wearing a horrible head-to-toe white dress, and so she goes to say something, in reply, but stops herself, but he asks her what it is, and, basically, she is worried because, the fact that he had been affected by her, like, he was into her back in ye olden days when they first met, but, like, she doesn't have the same body type anymore, and, yeah, she assumes since she's not super skinny anymore, he's not into her anymore. Like there's this whole stuff where he initially doesn't understand what she's talking about, and then he realizes it, and he's like, bitch, I will always and have always have wanted to fuck you, and you are always gorgeous, and all this stuff.
You know.
And she still looks slightly self-conscious despite him being like, bitch, I could fuck you any day. It's fine. He continues to say that, her added confidence now also makes her even sexier than she was before. And then he says that he jacks himself thinking about her. And she's just like, dude, that's so not romantic, but I love it.
You know.
And so she brings him down to kiss her. He's all like, I masturbate to you. And so she kisses him. You know, normal things. A healthy relationship.
Totally normal.
He wants to bang, but there's a deal. But then he takes off his shirt and says, touch me. And she says, I'll do much more than touch you. And then goes down on her knees. Basically saying that she wants to, she want to bang.
Yes. Yes.
And then she realizes when she goes down on her knees that he looks at her like she's the most treasured thing to exist. So around this point, it's official that she starts calling him Jameson in the bedroom and whatnot. She's scared of giving herself over to him. And he takes his time undressing her. He makes sure she knows her safe word, but she realizes it so he can feel the pride of it being related to him. Yeah. He brings up the idea of bondage, and it scares her, especially having to trust him completely. He instantly notices that. She's like a little worried, and he's like, "Oh, I can put away. I don't really mind." But she wants to continue. Also, she's scared because he makes her feel seen. She's not really into bondage since, if she did use the safe word, it takes time to undo all the knots and whatnot. Makes sense. And she's known plenty of doms beforehand who prefer to keep their ropes intact, which makes it take longer. And so, like, even if you feel unsafe, you have to use your safe word, you're still forced into that position in that confinement for X amount of time until they undo the knots. Right? Makes sense.
Right.
So, she admits that she trusts him enough for this. He makes sure to check on her throughout the process. He makes her look at herself in the mirror while they do that. He has a thing with putting his his fingers through her hair and braiding her hair so we can see her face as they do it. So he gets on his knees to eat a meal, if you know what I mean. I keep on using the same term and saying, if you know what I mean, every time.
If you would call it that one more time, I swear to God, I don't know.
That's how I write it too. Anyways, this
I know. I know
dogs,
you as a person.
Because dogs don't get down on their knees, for their subs, right? So, like, she's like, he asked how long she watched him at the Underworld, and she says every time. So, we learned that Hook has also been with a Lark in the past, who is Eric from Little Mermaid. His name is a Lark in the series. So it seems at this point, this is where I noticed he seems to be more into switches. Like a Lark is a switch, Gaton is a switch, and while Tink is a sub, she's a very confident sub, and there's multiple times where she dominates the scene where like he does what she wants while he's controlling it. Technically, she's the one who asks things, and then he says yes. Her commanding with the blowjob, all that type of stuff. So, like, yeah, he has a type. He's willing to do anything she wants. And so, they bang. And when she calls his name, he says, "Yes, beautiful girl, see me." That is a direct quote. And then because, sex, she starts to cry. And then, it turns into emotional, vulnerable sex. And she thinks she may love him, which makes her panic again, so, she says the safe word. And instead of, like, taking his time to undo the knots and blah, 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 he just straight up just cuts the rope.
Well, that's one way to get it done.
And then cuddles her, holds her up against him and repeats, she's safe while, like, petting her hair and all this stuff. She's afraid.
I hate this color. I'm sorry.
She's
I'm
afraid.
having nail issues.
I believe it. She's afraid, she's repeating the past, and he apologizes, thinking he pushed her too far. And while making him think it was her fault, will make life easier. On her, she realizes that he has a heart and can't let him feel bad for hurting her when it did happen. So she admits she's scared of trusting someone again, and he repeats he's not Peter, and that she's a stronger person and no longer a teenager because, and I quote, she was a fucking teenager. The way he's like, yeah, you're not a teenager anymore. As a point on how she wouldn't make the same mistakes because she has a fully formed frontal lobe now.
Yeah, I hope you know that I'm missing so much skin on my fingers because I you know, normal thing. And this is the second time I had to use acetone.
Ooh,
I'm okay.
I don't have to imagine how bad that is. She realizes the hurt in his voice and fears she's fucked it all up with her trauma. She agrees he's not Peter, but tries to hurt him by saying he's also no Prince Charming, and she expects him to just leave, because, like, she's like, no one wants to be with me, I'm just a rude bitch all the time, blah, 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 right? With only ability to hurt people, but, he's like, yeah, no, you're no princess locked in a tower either, like, this isn't a fairy tale, we're real people. And they're perfect for each other because of their shared history and trauma.
I suppose.
I love the whole we're not a fairy tale, as it's a fairy tale.
Yes.
It's literally a fairy in a fairy tale. Like, he says they have all the time in the world, and she internally disagrees. And then in her sleep,
Fucking Cotton, man. I'm sorry.
Tink cuddles Hook closer while she's asleep, and he's into it and finds her adorable. And then Peter calls him, and so he picks
Get
up
a
the
fucking
phone.
hobby, Peter. Jesus
I know,
fucking
right?
Christ.
So he picks up the phone and then instantly hangs up on him. And then Peter calls back, and so he picks up the phone again. He's like, "Oh, hello." Peter starts threatening Tink's life and calling her a whore if he hangs up on him again. There's some of Hook baiting him. And then when Peter finds Tink again, Hook is ready to go off on him instead of continue the plan of, like, baiting him. But Tink is awake at this point and makes him continue. She's like, this is part of the plan, you gotta do it. So, like, he has to say some nasty stuff about her and all this stuff, like, all this, like, she prefers my cock and she's not your pussy anymore and all this stuff, yeah. And then, after doing all that, he hangs up again and ignores Peter's attempt to call again and then apologizes to Tink. Tink says the marriage will only last when Peter's an issue, and Hook disagrees and says he loves her. And then they start having a fight over that. She's like, there's no way you could love me, all this stuff. And,
Please be serious, Tink.
And then he gets up over them fighting. She does question this, but then she tops him. Another point in me knowing his type. Anyways, she tops him, she goes for a ride, if you know what I mean. They have, so, like, afterwards, after they've both released, they have a conversation about how they didn't use a condom, and he's like, yeah, I haven't been with anyone for a while, and I'm clean, which is, like, a hint, I think. It's not, like, really brought up again, but I think it's a hint that, like, he hasn't been with anyone waiting for Tink to be free, to be able to be with her. And she is also clean, because, like, I assume working at the club you have to get checked out regularly, right? And so, it's fine that they didn't use condoms. Also, she's on birth control. So it's fine that they didn't use condoms. And then, basically, he, literally, the way it's described is, finger fucks his cum back into her.
Well, sure. Have fun, bestie. I don't know.
Yeah. Hook goes to take a shower, and while taking a shower, Meg calls Tink saying that she needs to come in with Hook. She seems, like, very serious about something. So, she goes to tell Hook, and Hook doesn't want to submit to in order to go in. So Tink's just like, well, I'll go in on my own, hinting at a future of her helping him more completely in keeping the territory instead of just being a backseat role, and all this stuff. And he's like, you can do that if you want. I don't care. But, like, also, if everyone thinks that you're just being played as a prize, and not, like, an actual person, in this whole thing, then when this is all done, it will be easier for you to leave, the city or get out of this and continue your business and all this stuff. If people don't think that you're, like, also working with me and all this stuff, yeah. And if they work...
Also,
Yeah.
we're trying Shigo, green and black, you know?
Okay. Also, there's like this whole thing that she helps them, more personally with all the business stuff. They'll be tied together even more. And so in order to like try to catch him off guard with that statement, because he doesn't seem to mind, and he's like, sure, you can do whatever you want. She says she wants kids, and he's like, okay, I want kids too. And she's like, what the fuck? And then, he offers to go to the meeting with her, because he, like, recognizes, he's saying too much too fast. He literally just, like, not even 24 hours ago said, I love you for the first time. So, offers to go with the meeting, and, giving her time to decide on her future and whatnot. And so they go to leave, and then, the guard, who she almost stabbed that one time, is scared of her, and she feels bad about the power she feels in, his fear, and apologizes to him, all the stuff. She realizes that Hook fully trusts her and therefore accepts, he loves her. She's like, oh, this bitch trusts me? He must love me. And then she, finds his love dumb and dangerous. There we go. I'm tired.
It's okay, Busty, I believe in you.
We have like 2-ish pages left.
Yeah, it's already... It's so late. It's okay.
Someone has destroyed all of Tink's stuff that was still at the underworld, and, she automatically knows it's Peter. Which make Loki question.
How did he get in there? Oh my god!
No, that's like a whole thing. That's like a whole thing where they're like, how did he get it? But yeah, he destroyed all her shit, which is like 5 years of her collecting items over time, taking commissions, all that type of stuff. All the works in progresses and stuff that she wasn't immediately working on, because she only had Meg drop off the one dress and all the supplies for that dress. So all the other business stuff she had, fucking gone. Fuck.
I need everyone to be so serious.
I'm ready to fight a bitch for her. I was like ready to throw hands at that point. I was already ready to throw hands, but at that point I was like, oh, first you fuck with her and then you fuck with her bag. I'm ready to fight. Meg says that they'll like replace it all, but Tink immediately just goes numb and is like, it's 5 years worth of commissions and all this work and all this money, and apparently a lot of the dresses and outfits she made was made out of fabrics that she would custom dye herself. And I just wrote, we love a girl boss. And also, this will probably be, like, a really big hit at her business, because, like, she can't turn in any of her commissions, because she has none of her shit, and because she will probably never recover from this, business-wise. Like, her business is basically dead at this point. She's like, there's no point. It's fucking sad. And Hook tries to get her to accept the replacements. He notices the emptiness in her eyes, and it's just, oh, yeah. So, Hook hints that he'll, like, do the whole dom sub thing to let her calm down, but thinks better of it, and, she has Meg give them a moment. She hints that someone will be watching on the camera to, like, keep an eye on him, and then, as soon as Meg leaves the room, he just hugs her, and she just cries, sobbing. This fucking man, Peter, fuck Peter, just fuck Peter. He decides to move up the timetable and let her stay at the underworld for her safety. And she's like, 1, he already got in here. 2, do you really think I'm safer here than with you? And he's like, no, you're always safer with me. And she's like, exactly, so I'm gonna stay with you. Hook believes he's not good enough for her, but they work because he understands her trauma and her trauma responses. And Hook did initially try to get rid of Peter legally, in the olden days, back when he initially, took over the territory. But he had too many people, Peter had so many people on his payroll that, there was no way to get rid of him, other than kill him. And so, he offers her an out because he doesn't want her to be affected by all this anymore, right?
Okay, like, I understand his mindset of not wanting to kill Peter originally, because he didn't want to be like Peter and his dad. But, like, I'm sorry, at some point you gotta suck it up. You think about the greater good here and off the man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Don't worry, he does die. So, Tink eventually gets Meg to let her see what happened to all her stuff, which includes smashing, like, all of her tools. There's, like, the first sewing machine, that she ever bought with, like, her first paycheck, which is, like, a really big deal to her. Like, it's, like, not a super nice one. She has, like, a nicer one that she has at Hook's when Meg dropped off her stuff, right? But, like, she kept that one because it's, like, very sentimental to her. Fucking destroyed. All the clothes, he burned them. And then all her custom fabrics, he dumped a bunch of, like, acid on them.
BRB, let me fictionalize myself real quick.
So she's like, okay, we're fucking going. We're leaving. I can't handle this. And she plans to leave. Hades is just doing what she wants at this point. Or not Hades, Hook. And then Hades and Hercules enter the room. There we go. And Hercules seems generally really upset by this, like Meg. But Hades seems to want to, quote-unquote, make it up to her in hopes that no one will learn about the breach insecurity, or at least that's the vibe I got. Tank was just going to let Hook handle everything, but the money to replace everything could be used on better things for, like, his business and whatnot. So she tells Hades she'll send him an itemized list. Which is iconic. Like, he's all like, we'll handle this. I'll make it up to you. And she's, like, been saying no the whole time Meg's been bringing that up to her. And she's like, no. And she's like, I'll just have Hook handle it. Because, like, he's my husband. I don't fucking care at this point. I'm empty this void at this point. And then she's like, you know what? Fuck Hades for letting this happen. Hook should not be forced to handle this. Especially when that money could go to other people and whatnot. And so, she's like, okay. I'll send
My
you a
mom
list.
is so annoying. No, I haven't got your fucking package. I have shit to fucking do that has nothing to do with you. Jesus fucking Christ.
Hades notices Hook's hand on Tink's shoulder. He's, like, keeping a hand on her shoulder or the back of her neck to keep her grounded. Hades leaves after saying he'll have one of his personal guards escort them out of the territory. I gotta finish this off. I'm not doing great. Hercules hugs her.
Neither of us are doing great, Bestie. It's okay.
Hercules hugs her. Tink knows this is a declaration of war, on Peter's part, right? So, they're escorted back to his place, and then as they're exiting and entering the place, like, the whole time that they're outside the car and not inside the building, he's holding her hand and bodily protecting her, like, making sure that she's, like, not, like, every side of her is not open to the street, like, he's between her and the street and all this stuff, so, like, there's no way she can be, like, sniped or anything, like, yeah.
I love that we have to worry about being sniped out in this universe.
Literally, there's a whole part where he contemplates just sniping, Peter, because that would be easier, and there's a whole reason why he doesn't do that. I
don't think any of the reasons are good reasons.
Yeah. So he has, like, his security people do, like, a whole sweep, but Gaton's there. Oh my god. To talk to Hook, because the man in black, the most powerful man in the city, is dead. Yeah. He, like...
Who was? Is that just his name, the man in black?
Yeah, that's all they call him. That's all they call him. I think he's gonna have, like, an actual name in the next book. Because here's some stuff, background stuff that has to do with the next book. Basically, he ran the biggest part of the city, and anyone could now attack them. as well as his daughters, because he only had, like, his kids were 3 daughters, and, like, all of them are pretty powerful in their own ways. But, like, it's clear Gaton's really worried about this one specific daughter, who is his ex, Isabel, aka Belle. Also, the Man in Black was a father figure to Hook, Gaton, and Beast. So Gaton and Hook start drinking, and they have a hug. And while they're doing this, Tink admits to herself she loves Hook, and then takes a shot. Iconic, me too. Gaton is actually there just to distract himself with sex, and his safe word is Rose, which I know is a reference to Beauty and the Beast, but I take it as a personal attack as someone whose name is Rose. Thank you very much. I literally wrote down which I take as a personal attack. I literally wrote that down.
I was reading something, and, like, I think someone was called Rose, or there's just something that mentioned Rose. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Hook asks Tink if she wants to join or watch. You know, the fun times. And she questions what Hook wants. And this is when I realized, like, in any of the times that, like, they have sex or whatnot, he, like, rarely orgasms, and when he does, it's, like, in a fade to black. It's, like, never, like, in the moment. I think, like, only one time he has, and it's when she topped him. And then, also when she did the blowjob. I gotta plug in my computer. I gotta grab my charger in a minute. Okay.
You know, for someone whose favorite color is green, I have minimal green nail polish.
I have 0 green nail polish. Hook likes to see Tink act more like a partner than a subordinate. Makes sense. There's a shower sex scene between Gaton, Tink, and Hook, while Hook checks on security before he joins. Hook plans to drag out Peter the next day to minimize collateral damage. And so he shows up to this meeting to be like, okay, talk about security, and his guns are like, we'll bait him out tomorrow, it's fine, we'll handle everything tonight, go have fun. And they question if, Hook will survive this. Hook watched, Gaton and Tink in the past, he's watching them now go at it. And while he's doing that, he's thinking about how he used to be so jealous of them being together. Before he comes in and starts commanding the whole scene, he kisses Tink. And eventually it turns into, okay, so what happens is, she's on the bed. Gaton is...
Yes.
Listen, you told me you'd kill me or fight me if I said eating a meal again, so I'm trying to figure out another way to say it. Gaton's having a licky lick.
Why is that better? Why did you decide that was better? Why can't you just say he's eating her pussy? Like, I don't know.
I hate it too.
Like, you can say cock 500 million times and talk about alien dick, but you can't say, oh, he's eating her out. Like, please start your priorities, bestie. Like, oh my god.
So, Gaton's between her legs while Hook is behind him going at it, right? Because butt stuff, you know, good times. It's hinted that the only thing Gaton likes better than oral sex is butt sex. So...
Well, whatever, you know, like, are we surprised?
So you can tell what's gonna happen in the next book. You can tell the type of positions are gonna happen in the next book.
Am I supposed to read the next one?
No, the last one, you're fine. There's 6 of them,
okay,
and the next one's
good.
the 4th one. So...
I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore, bestie.
I don't know either. While Hook is presumably cleaning up, it's mentioned that Gaston's relationship was due to Isabel, aka Belle, not being able to choose between him and Beast. Tink actually calls it a love triangle, and so it's just a funny thing where it's like, oh, love triangle, and then me knowing that in the next book, actually it's gonna be a throuple. Hell yeah, let's go party. Tink tells Gaton to try to make a move since he's clearly still in love with her. They do get Gaton to stay the night with them and sleep, and so he's sleeping on one side while Hook and Tink are cuddling on the other side, her head on his chest. And she says she loves him, thinking they're running out of time because she knows Peter will come after her. And then they just start having sweet, non-kinky sex. Reminder, good times in the bed sleeping. As they're right next to him, just going at it.
Every time you mention a scene like this in one of these episodes, I think I already mentioned this, like probably like last episode or something, where my stepsister made me watch this movie. You remember where she's like sandwiched in between the two brothers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you can
Yeah.
in the next one, because we were talking about, the ruffle. He asked her to stay with him and do a proper big church wedding and have a family, and all this stuff.
Oh, I learned that apparently that movie is based on a Wattpad book too, which I'm not surprised because it's my stepsister.
No. They both dream of having a happy family, whether that's via, she's like, happily ever afters aren't really in our future, and he's like, so what? She's like, oh, like, well, what if I can't have kids? What if I can't pop out a few kids? And he's like, so what? We could have kids via childbirth. We could adopt. We can just get a dozen dogs. It doesn't matter as long as we're together. And I'm just like, hell yeah. Let's get a dozen of dogs. I see our future already, bestie. We're just gonna.
I want a really big dog in the future. Like,
my mom really wants.
I want like I feel like my mom wants another Rottweiler because she had some when she was younger, and I'm like, I've never said no to it. But like, instead she gets a cat, like a Rottweiler or a Saint Bernard, like big dogs like that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's what my mom wants too.
They're so cute. I want to be crushed by my dog, like, you know.
Oh,
I never wanted to leave me alone. Have you noticed?
Morning? Yes, Bella crushed me this morning. She came up into bed with me and cuddled me.
I feel like I haven't seen a Bella dog in a while.
That's because she doesn't love me.
Well, you have to love her, too.
I do love her. I go and cuddle her all the time, and she just.
Well, okay, loving her also requires you sending me pictures of a Bella dog. That's how it works.
I did try to send you one this morning, but she moved her head. Though this morning, she wouldn't go out until I walked her, so you know.
'Cause she missed you.
Hook finally admits he would have saved Tink without the whole wedding. And instead of it being like, oh my god, I married you for no reason, she feels touched by this. So Tink gets dressed for the fight with Peter, and breaks herself for never learning self-defense. Apparently Peter has had one following Tink the whole time. So he'll know when she leaves the building. She'll be the bait, and then Hook kills him. But Tink brings up the point that he won't come out of hiding if Hook is there. Further proven by them going to like the underworld twice and him not trying anything. Also, this is all like a conversation they're having at a meeting with like the 60 people, and he's like letting her take charge of it and all this stuff. Hook is very adamant about Tink not going out on her own in fear that Peter would touch her. She'd like to let Hook have someone handle this from afar, but cause he's all like, I should just like let someone sniper him. But then everyone will consider it as a weakness, and then attack them. So then like it wouldn't help. So they make a new plan that allows her to be bait as Hook keeps her in sight, hoping she'll be safe. Another hint that Hook would rather cut off his hand than hurt her, and I just realized it's connected to Captain Hook at the hint. Yeah. 10:30 p.m. I literally wrote down the time. I said it's 10:30 p.m. I'm allowed to be done. I didn't mention that like the whole family stuff where they both want kids and both want a family because they've never had a secure family. Her being abandoned by her mother when she was born, and then or that's how she views it. And then being tossed between foster homes, and then being taken by Peter, and then working for Hades, and that's it. That's like been her whole life. And then Hook's father was so abusive that his mother like left and all this stuff. So like they both want the family they've always wanted and never got to have, and all this stuff. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So they start the plan to go bait Peter out, and Hook is scared that he'll never see Tink again. He's been working to increase the housing quality in like the area, and just the general way of life for the people who just like work and live in this area. Very nice of him. But they're at the like, there's like one bad part of town left. And he's like, there's like a plan within the next 5 years that it's gonna be like the rest of the place where it's gonna be all nice and stuff. But for now, it's still a quote unquote bad part of town. And they end up getting in that part of town when Nigel and Hook are attacked. Hook quickly realizes it's a distraction as Nigel go after Tink as he handles the kid attacking him. John, I thought maybe he would be more important. He's not, so I said his name. John kicks him down, and then Peter shows up and kidnaps him. Nigel shows up at Tink's location, and she instantly recognizes that it's actually all been a trap for Hook, not for her. And then no one can find Hook. They go back to where they last saw Hook, where Nigel was with him. And they see a bunch of blood, and Tink's like freaking the fuck out. But then she realizes, in the last book, she found out that Peter had a new girlfriend and went to try and save her, and so knew where he was keeping his girl, and so she knows a possible location of him, because like he wouldn't leave her far behind, right, and all that stuff, and she doesn't think he would have moved her or anything, so they show up at that building. Tink initially plans to go in with Nigel, but he goes in with Colin, and she's giving like the security detail all the information on the building from when she snuck in the previous book. When Peter calls her and she puts on speaker, and he requesting goes in alone or he'll kill Hook. So she gives all the security people 10 minutes to make a plan before going in herself. She's like, you have 10 minutes or I'll go in myself. Okay, you talk. Mm-hmm. And so while they're all talking, she sends a group text to Aurora, Meg, and Electro, saying thanks for the friendship, and they quickly realize that like it's a goodbye text and that Peter's up to something, and they're like, they plan to go after her, and she says it's turf stuff, which they're not supposed to intervene with, but they still are like, oh no, we're showing up, before Tink calms them down. And I was like, excuse me, I want my Tink, Aurora, Electro, and Meg going after Peter with a baseball bat scene. Where the hell is it? I literally wrote down a baseball bat scene. I don't know what is with me and baseball bats recently. But I was sad. I was like, we could have had a great moment where they all fucked him up, but no, we couldn't have that. So Nigel and Tink go in together, but before they really go far, two men come up behind them and beat down Nigel and tell her to go up alone. She agrees if they let Nigel go, which, so they do, they open up the door for him out, to everyone else. So she is clutching her purse while this is all happening, and I remember she has bear mace and tasers in her purse, and I went, oh, okay. So she goes upstairs, to find Hook sitting on a couch, handcuffed, and his head is bleeding, and Peter is cooking.
What the fuck?
Yep. So, Peter makes her enter the kitchen where he is, and then grabs her, and tells her, oh yeah, and, he's like, give me your hand, Tink, give me your hand, as in, like, it's clear that he's going to put her hand in a, put her hand in a boiling pan of hot oil.
Yeah, you told me this, but I kind of went right over my head. I wasn't paying attention, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, his plan is to basically fuck up her hand completely. You know, good times. So at this point, she's like calmly like, okay, and pulls out her hand from her bag where it is to give it to him. But oh no, she has her taser and whoos him.
She should.
Yes, and then he falls to the ground. So she gets down on the ground too, and tases him on the throat for a bit until he passes out. And then I wrote,
she should.
Yes, and then I wrote down, obviously I'm in love.
Yes.
Yes. So she takes out his gun and the cuff keys he has on him. And so she gives the gun to Hook as she takes her time undoing the cuffs because she's like starting to get the panic shakes because of everything that's happened. When Hook starts to freak out and then pulls her to the side while he shoots behind her. and he tries to make it so she knows that he shot Peter, and all this stuff, and that he's dead. And she wants to look behind her because she's like, I will always look, like, trying to look behind me and make sure he's not coming after me the rest of my life if I don't see his body, and all this stuff. And Hook doesn't want her to look because he doesn't want her to think he's a monster for doing this, and all that stuff. But eventually she gets him to let her look, and she quickly realizes he was planning to go after her with the grease pan. Like, he was holding the grease pan ready to kill her with it, whack her a few times. And then I wrote down, lol, Peter Pan used a pan.
I'm sick.
It was 11:30 p.m. at this point. It's okay. It's okay. Why am I like this?
I don't know. That's a question I also ask a lot.
So she's like, let's go home, calling Hook's place home for the first time. So they get there. He's willing to let her go when she realizes he's a monster. He's like, she's just in denial. And all the adrenaline right now. But
I love how he's like, I'm just waiting for her to realize that I'm a monster. And this whole time I was like, kill the fucker!
Same. He plans to shower, but I wrote down the female squad that showed up. It's Electro, Aurora, and Meg. They showed up to the place, threatening, the same guy that Tink went over after with that knife. Yeah, they're threatening the same guy, and Aurora's all up his face, and, like, tell us where Tink is, planning to burn down the whole fucking building. Like, Aurora brought a bunch of gasoline and is ready to burn down the building. I fucking cackled, because Aurora's supposed to be, like, the sweet one. And she was ready to burn down this place. I love her.
You know.
And so eventually Tink's like, yeah, I'm fine, everything's fine. Peter's dead. You all can go. I'll see you all in the morning. We can have coffee in the morning. So they plan to have coffee, in the morning. She makes him get checked out by a doctor who confirms that Hook has a concussion. So Tink cleans him up. And so after she's done, he expects her to say she wants to leave. But, and she's, like, clearly wanting to say something, all this stuff, so he's, like, prepared, and, then she says, I want a big fall wedding, and he goes, I'm sorry, it may be the concussion, but did you just say you want to get married? Thinking that she's gonna break up with him.
No, did you say baseball?
What? Big fall
It sounded like you said baseball wedding. I was like, what?
No. Turns out he was gonna offer her a divorce in the morning. Which she says is the most romantic thing he's told her.
I'm gonna feel like any of this makes sense.
She questions if he wants a divorce. Oh, and then she's like, wait a second, do you actually want a divorce? And he gets down on one knee, and it's like, no, clearly I want to be with you. And they plan to have, like, this big giant wedding, unhappily ever after, but, like, not happily ever after. There's, like, this whole thing where they call it unhappily ever after or something like that. Or non-happily ever after, something like that. She says yes, the end. That's it. That's the book.
Whoa.
Whoa. My least favorite of the series so far.
I can kind of see why.
It's fine, it's good, it's just very repetitive, and
yeah,
almost 300 pages of it is a bit much.
It's good, it's just not as good as all the other ones.
Yes. You know,
and that's okay.
I will love forever the moment when Tink tasers Peter, but, like, in my dreams, I will always picture Jasmine slicing Ellie's throat while wearing the wedding dress she was supposed to wear when she got married to him. You know,
Mostly Halecore, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's just, I do love how all three of these have a whole scene at the end where the main female character just has to fuck up some abusive asshole. Like, the first one, Jasmine kills the lead. The second one, Meg punches Zeus. Third one, Tink tases Peter. Like, it's just a theme. I wonder how Belle will fuck up in the next one.
I do think still the Meg, Hercules, and Hades is my favorite one. Hearing about it.
I think I have both of them rated as 4 stars. I really like them. This one was just Matt in comparison. I still really liked it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's just not as good as the other ones.
Yeah, and there's always one of those books in the series.
Yes. Okay. You have any other final thoughts, Bam? This is over 2 hours long.
I don't know. Not really.